Coming up on today's show, we're going to talk about an interesting report that says the Texans might not actually be going quarterback at number 2 in the draft. So we're going to break down what one NFL insider believes is a possibility, albeit a small one, but more than just 1%, as he put it. But first, help us reach our next milestone here at the channel. We crossed 2,000 subscribers, so appreciate all of you who have subbed. But let's get to 3,000. And I like to get there before the NFL draft. So hit that sub button for the best Texans YouTube content. Now, Peter King from NBC Sports, in a write-up just kind of covering all the loose corners in the NFL right now, talked about what he's hearing coming out of Houston and what the Texans are considering doing at the number 2 pick, which is with Houston picking also at 12, maybe they don't go quarterback at number 2, right? Maybe they go best player available, and with that 12th pick, if a quarterback they like but don't love starts to slide a little bit, they could use that 12th pick and another pick to move back earlier in round number 1 and land a guy who they don't think is worth the second overall pick, but they do think he's worth moving up from 12. Here's what Peter King wrote. The Texans also picked 12th. With that pick and 2 first-round picks next year, is it impossible to think they take the cleanest prospect in this draft, Alabama pass rusher Will Anderson, at 2 and get their quarterback slightly lower, somewhere around the 4th pick or after? I think the Texans are going to go quarterback at 2, but in the last few days, I've heard this about Houston GM Nick Caserio, very conservative. If he doesn't love a quarterback at 2, he's not going to force it. I thought that last sentence was very important, right? If he doesn't love a quarterback at 2, let's say he loves Bryce Young or CJ Stroud. Well, the guy he loves goes to Carolina, and he's actually not all that high in the other one. Maybe he does go Will Anderson and view that as a safer pick. Now, here's the issue. How long is Caserio's leash in 2023? If he believes that he needs to find a rookie quarterback in this draft to buy him more time as the GM, because let's say he drafts a rookie and they're still not good next year, he can say to management, to ownership, hey, we just drafted a rookie quarterback. Let me see this through, right? You can't fire me 1 year into a rookie quarterback. Now, if they don't go rookie and they suck next year, well, maybe they fire him and the next GM gets to pick a rookie quarterback, right? How much leeway does he have with the Texans to tell them his plan of, listen, if it's Bryce Young on the board at number 2, I'm not very high on him. So I want to go a different direction, but I need to know if I suck next year or if the Texans suck next year because we still haven't figured out the quarterback issue. Don't fire me for doing what's right for this franchise and not forcing what I believe is a bad pick at number 2 just for the sake of picking a rookie to buy me more time, okay? Maybe you do go best player available and wait for a quarterback in 2024. Now, I do believe whether it's Bryce Young or CJ Stroud, they're both good options. So if I were the Texans, I would go one of those 2 at number 2 because I don't think it's a big fall off. But could Caserio get in the ear of ownership and say, you know what? It's not a very good option if it's Bryce Young or CJ Stroud, whichever one we don't like on the board at number 2. Let me get the best player available, Will Anderson. And then let me get a quarterback in 2024, who we'll look at later on in the video, that will be stepping into a much better organization, roster, and locker room with a lot of growing talent around him, and not just picking a rookie quarterback knowing this team is going to suck this year and maybe not even liking that rookie quarterback. Again, a lot of circumstantial evidence here, but I don't think it's impossible to rule it out. Plus, you go down memory lane, the last time the Texans have had the first overall pick, well, not number 1 this time, but they did go defense, right? Williams and Clowney, number 1, this is number 2, so not too far off. But hey, here's what I want to hear from everyone watching. Should the Texans draft a quarterback at number 2? I'm going to go with yes because I do believe in Bryce Young and CJ Stroud, but if there's an or in that sentence right there, right? If it's Young or Stroud, and one of those guys gets picked before you, the one you wanted, well, maybe you go with no. Let me know in the comments section. Now, an anonymous league source in Peter King's write-up also had this to add. It's a stretch, but I could see Nick taking Anderson, then using his second first-round pick and trading back up to get his quarterback here. So if your QB1 is gone, right, this is what I've been talking about. Do you take the safe pick, Will Anderson, and then use the number 12 pick, and depending on how high you want to get or how low you want to get in the first round or high, you know what I mean? You might have to use one of your 2 first-round picks next year because you have your own and Cleveland's. Now, you better really like this guy if you're willing to give up a first-round pick for next year, because I'll assume they would trade away the Browns, although I don't know if they have to declare which one they'd give up now. But regardless, you might want to have 2 first-round picks for next year, just in case you don't finish at the bottom and you get cucked like this year for Houston and the Bears squeak it out or another team does, and you want to have 2 first-round picks in 2024 to move up and get one of these 2 guys, Drake May or Caleb Williams, who some would say if they were in this draft class, they would be the number 1 quarterback. So maybe you want to wait a year and to go after one of these 2 guys who are coming off very, very good seasons, and if they were draft eligible, it would make this draft a whole lot more exciting, even though it's already pretty exciting. So maybe you go down the path of build a roster in 2023 for a 2024 quarterback, right? Go Will Anderson. And at pick 12, go best player available, whatever that is, because it's not like Houston has some positions firmly squared away, right? Maybe running back you don't need, but man, Bijan Robinson would be a ton of fun at pick number 12. So I don't know if that's the worst plan in the world. And then in 2024, if you don't finish first, if you don't finish last and get the first pick in the draft, you've got 2 first-round picks, so you could make a Panthers-esque trade and get to the number 1 spot and then go with Caleb Williams or Drake May. That's going to do it for us on today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe for the best free Houston Texans YouTube content out there.